your guidance and your wisdom for these men and women who lead this county. God, we pray that you would bless them. Give them the discernment they need to make the decisions that are best for the people of this community. As always, Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to live here on beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Supervisor Powell, would you lead us in a pledge?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business, I guess we need to approve several addendums to the agenda. First on the agenda would be considered selection of county administrator. Second one, order approving advertisement for bids, heavy equipment backhoe for the Sand Beach Department. And order approving a $225 expenditure to the county of Harris County in Texas for the summons to be as per request of Sheriff Matt Haley. Hear a motion to adopt.
Second.
Any discussions? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Also on the agenda, order spreading upon the minutes, notice of interim meeting of the Harris County Board of Supervisors for March the 8th, 2024.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? None, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. All right, first item on the agenda is consider selection of the new county administrator.
I'd like to make a motion to hire Robert Collins.
I hear a motion for Mr. Robert Collins. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Thank you. Next item is order approving advertisement to bid heavy equipment backhoe for Sand Beach Department, reference file 24-2901 for funds are in the budget.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Second order approving the $225 appropriation for the county of Harris, Texas for 3 summons to be agreed to by, or excuse me, I'm trying to read something here, as requested by Sheriff Matt Haley.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Chair would like to recognize our county engineer to give us a report on the damage to the parking garage and other items as reference to ARPA funding.
Yes, sir, thank you. I do have just 2 things to bring y'all up to speed on. Friday morning, Troy called and asked me to look at the parking garage. There's concrete rubble as you go in around the ramp to the right. About halfway down, there was some rubble falling down through. You could hear it rocking and slamming, I guess, if you drove across the top. So they wanted to know, is it safe to use? Do we need to close it or whatnot? So I came down and got a structural engineer that I'm comfortable with on FaceTime, who's actually off, and looked at it with me. Looked there, we looked in the maintenance area underneath the ramp, looked around to the back side, and there definitely 4 or 5 areas where the concrete is moving, the structure is shifting. The top panels, one is definitely rocking under the weight of a pickup truck, so any kind of heavy equipment is making it rock even more. I didn't see anything imminent danger of falling on Friday, so what I recommended was closing the top to make sure that that rocking didn't happen, so we didn't have rubble continuing to fall.
Jack, is this from damage that somebody, a county employee hit with a trailer? Is this from damage, or is this from age, or is this from?
What it looks like to me, and the recommendation I want to make is to have a structural look at it a little bit closer this week, but what it looks like to me is between all of the various places I saw cracks and movement, I think that there is something shifting and settling underground. There's a large crack in the floor at the base of the ramp. Talking to Building and Grounds, they've had the road department filling cracks that have happened over the years. Seeing where they are, I saw a number that looked relatively new, so it looks like something is trying to move right now, and so My thought is that something is trying to shift and move underground, and those columns and walls around the ramp are trying to move a little bit. You know, and concrete will hold until it gets too far, and then it will shift. I didn't see anything that was, you know, within an inch of shifting off or falling down or anything. But I think that we should take a good look at it and try to figure out exactly what's shifting and see if it's something that we need to pick up some members, if it's something we just need to put some more shims in.
Should we close it until we're sure? I mean,
What I'd like to do, I've
got
got,
somebody in there that, you know.
Based on what she's saying, we need to close it.
well, and we did close the top Friday to make sure that nothing was shaking and I didn't see anything that was even within
Yeah,
an
but
inch
even on that
of
bottom,
moving.
if something, if the ground's moving and something were to just shift a little bit too much and you have vehicles in there and possibly people, to me, that's just too much of a.
What I'd like to do is, you know, I'm a civil engineer, I have a little bit of structural knowledge, much like attorneys, you have your areas of expertise. I did call a structural engineer Friday who is available to come look at it. I do have, approved consulting money in my budget. If y'all are good with that, I can have that done, and I guess I would need y'all to approve that expenditure, and we would do a letter agreement on the.
It's an emergency, so the board.
We could authorize,
410's head flies off, I think that's gonna be something that's gotta be done.
Yeah, in that, will they
But I would
also,
like to have it set up within the next day or two and get over there and look at it closely and make sure that I'm not missing anything. I didn't see anything that was in imminent danger of falling, but I may have overlooked something, and I'd like to have somebody with that expertise look with me. So if y'all are good with that, I can cover that in my consulting line item in my budget, go ahead and set that up, and then we'll make sure
Who
that
is the
legal's.
structural engineer, the board can go ahead and authorize.
Okay, it will be, Andrew Levins with Covington.
Andrew Levins with who?
Covington.
Covington. Chair will entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor signify by aye. Those opposed by no, the motion carries.
And then I'll put
Now,
a letter
the question
agreement
is
together.
whether we close that garage or
If
not.
I
Yes.
could, the board will remember the courthouse fiasco.
Absolutely.
Michael Cassidy was involved in that, and is well familiar with the structure, at least the courthouse. He might be willing to come look without even hiring him, just to help us out if we call him. I think he's retired now, but he certainly might, he has a lot of knowledge about what happened then. All the parking garage was built separately.
Michael
Yeah,
Cassidy.
much later than the
Cassidy, I
courthouse.
can call him. Certainly don't want to court. Y'all won't remember at the courthouse collapse, they told us that, but for the miracle of God, 400 people would have been killed if it had done what it should have done.
If I recall too, Tim, I think there was some issues, in fact, the material and the construction.
Right. It had,
Some defects in the construction as well as some material.
it had
Oh,
one
that's
third
not
of
what's
the,
true with that garage.
Jack, I have a quick question. Maybe I read the email wrong and I'm confusing several of different things. Did the email say the elevator? There was an elevator that sounded like when it went to the ground it was
Different.
shaking? That's
Totally different.
different. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I was thinking of the elevator in there, okay.
Okay, everything
let's
except
stay
the
on-
elevator makes sense in
Yeah.
this one. The panels on the top are rocking, and that will happen if something's shifted and a little piece of rock has got in there. It can rock and make that noise and not be at all dangerous. Or it could be that something's really shifted and it's about ready to pull.
And what
apart.
elevator are we talking
I
about?
don't know. This one right.
Elevator,
Here, that we
Yeah.
took the prisoners on? Okay.
inside.
no, inside, yeah.
Inside the glass thing?
Inside.
Okay. Sorry about that. So do we want to make a motion to close the garage, or how do y'all feel?
yeah, I would say so for safety reasons.
I
I don't think it can hurt to close it.
My
I don't
question
know
is
that
this.
it's
Where's everybody gonna park?
Close it COB today.
Right.
So close the business today, block it off for tomorrow. I mean, it's slap full right now, so it would take a lot to get every car out of there today.
And I may well be able to get him over there to look at it today. So we may have a good answer today, whether there's
We
something
can
imminent.
send out county emails and everything to everybody today that the parking garage will be closed tomorrow, if that's what the board wants to do.
Well, I think that, I mean, if she's telling us there's a possibility of the foundation or underneath the concrete foundation of that is moving. Something is moving. Is that what you said?
Yes, but,
Okay.
you know, this is something that's been moving
Matt's gonna have to-
probably for at least 8 or 10 years. I don't think 24 hours is gonna hurt anything.
Yeah.
But we're aware of it now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, let's do it at the end of the business day.
Well, what we can do today is Nathan just brought it up, Mac.
I block anybody else. from
Don't let
going in.
anybody else come in.
Anybody that goes out,
Lock
we
the
won't let anybody
inside
else
and let
in.
everybody go on out
So
and try to
once-
filter
Once
those
everybody
out.
gets out, they're out, and we'll block it
Yeah.
off for tomorrow.
Right.
And of course, the more people that do leave, the easier that'll make for having access to look at it today.
Pardon me?
I said I would just have to assign somebody to the parking garage.
Is there only one entrance?
Yeah, one entrance. But once we get everybody out, even if they leave for lunch, they can't come back in, so it'll.
What year was that built after Katrina, but what year?
Yeah, it was at the Katrina.
My understanding was it was between 05 and 10,
Yes, that's-
so we're looking at about 15
Yeah,
years old.
it's.
We did locate the architect that built it, and we've got a request in to get a copy of the plan.
Taylor Gal and them built that, I believe, was the architect.
I'm sorry?
Taylor Gal and Hardy.
Designed
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
and we've got a request in over there to get electronic plans sent over. They're supposed to do that today as well.
I want to remind the board, just because if you start thinking about this, it starts to worry you. In the courthouse collapse case, where this one sheared, the next one sheared, and the third one sheared, it turned out that it had been designed with less than 1/3 of the amount of bonded
That's what I
reinforcement
was
steel
talking
that it
about.
needed during the course of the litigation. Before the building was ever built, there was a letter written by the company in Texas that said, this building is woefully underdesigned and will not survive construction. It will not make it. And they wrote a letter to the contractor. The contractor sent it to the county's engineer, and the county engineer said, your sub is supposed to design the slab, not me. So they got in an argument with each other. They sent it to an engineer in Atlanta to review the plan. The engineer in Atlanta says, I'm not going to, I ain't got time to look at it, so they just dropped it. Built the building with less than 1/3. This letter was written, you talk about smoking guns in a letter, it was sent to the contractor, by the company in Texas. And several people were copied, but for some reason they copied the roofer. Of course, guess what? The roofer was the only reason, had no reason to get rid of the letter, so he kept it. When we got in the litigation, the roofer's lawyer, Larry Lenore, produced the letter.
Oh, wow.
The contractor didn't have it, the engineer that wrote the letter didn't have it, the engineer in Atlanta didn't have it. It was the most amazing thing you'd ever seen in your life.
Well, what mitigation occurred to repair this facility?
On that,
Yeah.
we recovered every penny, $2,800,000.
But apparently they had to redo it,
Oh, they
repair
had
the
to-
damage, so what mitigation?
Basically what they did is the bonded reinforced around these columns, there's steel that goes out into the slab that connects the slab to the column, and so they had 1/3 of what you were supposed to. So the way they fixed it is they externally attached steel plates that go all the way around and connect the slab to the columns. So that's how they fixed it. It was a mess. Every column in the courthouse had to be done that way. It was lucky. I mean, it was lucky. What saved it, these panels are around the outside. When the column started collapsing, it came down, the panels jammed together and caused just enough to, instead of just going boom, it just
It just
sagged.
kinda sagged.
Those panels held it together. It was
Okay,
pretty scary.
I think we have a motion on the table to close the parking garage at the end of the day, at business day. I don't think we voted on that yet. And got a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. Those opposed by no, the motion carries, and you're gonna get a structural engineer
I
to
will
look
leave
at
here
it
and
and
go
give
around
the
the corner
board,
and talk to them, yes, sir.
give the board a
We'll
recommendation
get
on what
started
needs to
today.
be done.
And I'll make sure that the agreement that legal's okay with it. All right, then ARPA is the other thing. We have been moving forward, trying to get projects going and bidding. Took bids on the first one last week. It was lower than the estimate. The engineer's estimate was just over 2 million. It came in at 1.5, but our grant that we wrote was for 1.2. When we first did all the estimates and all the projects over the course of the last several years, obviously we all know prices have been going up. We knew that would happen. And when we set the project list up at the beginning, My understanding was that we had priorities so that as we moved through the beginning, if those came in higher than we expected, we could move money from the bottom up. And so we're at that point with the first project. And I guess I wanted to know from y'all what kind of information you want, how you want me to share that with you real time, I guess, to make sure that we're all on the same page. I have a recommendation, haven't been able to write it yet. We took bids, I think, Thursday afternoon, but which project, it's actually, especially the two of y'all on the Utility Authority Board, you remember a month or two ago that they requested using tap fees to cover the water line coming up 49. We actually had some ARPA money to do that, so my recommendation is to reduce the scope of that project and move it into this one that we need some more.
Well, I don't know, we'll have to think about that,
Okay.
because that's gonna be a possible direct cost to us too as well.
What I would like to do is send y'all in an email, here's the table of where we stand, here's what I'm looking for, here's my recommendation or options, and y'all let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and then based on that, we'll submit a, budget shift request to DEQ.
We need to look at how we're gonna do that
Sure.
before we take that off from the utility authority, because that's still the county. We're
It
talking
is.
about the utility authority, but the county's gonna have to put up the money anyway, the difference. If we withdraw the ARPA funds, Harrison County's gonna have to make up the difference if we continue that project.
When I send you the information, you'll see it won't take all of it to begin with, it will take a small portion of it, and that contractor or the developer who's gonna develop that subdivision is gonna be putting that line in. So I don't think that we're gonna need that money on that project, because they're gonna be putting that line in.
Well, that's what, I didn't quite understand what you said. I thought you were saying that we would have to, there were ARPA money committed to that project, is what I thought you said.
We did, we had ARPA money committed to that project, and then the developer needs it put in now, and so he's going ahead and proposing it. John Wilson got the developer to put it in, and so we don't need to put a second line in, or what we need to do will be much reduced.
Okay.
And so I think we have available funds there to move.
Get that to us, I think we need to look at that, Dan. That's the utility authority issue, but.
Right. And of course,
the
all
county
of these.
directly
Yeah,
involved.
and of course, all of these, I will make sure that anything that affects Virgil, I'll be coordinating with him. Anything that affects the utility authority, John will be aware of as well, to make sure that I'm not surprising anybody. But if that's okay, that's my intent, is to send y'all an email basically with status, recommendations, make sure nobody has any problem with it. And then we have some paperwork we have to submit to the state
Yeah.
to get the
Send
money.
that to us, because I
moved.
think we need some time to digest some of that stuff, rather than making a decision right off the
The
bat.
only limitation on time is just the time we've got to get things awarded in a timely manner, so
Right.
I absolutely want to give you time to think about it,
Get
just
it-
keep that in
get it
mind
to us
as you
quick.
do. Okay?
Was there another issue in reference to a FEMA project that funding?
Matt Stratton did send an email,
That's
I
right.
think Friday, about Dolphin Lane, and that's
That's
the road
right,
out to the
Dolphin Lane.
IMF
And I
Center.
rejected it.
So,
They rejected that.
yeah, we did our appeal, and our options, we can choose to do a second appeal, but I think we all agree it's not gonna go favorably. And we met out there and looked at it, and with the amount of money that they're saying we can use to fix the problem, there is no way to do what they're saying to do with the amount of money that they said that it would take. And we have submitted 3 or 4 different stamped engineered estimates saying this is what it would actually cost, and they're just not accepting
Is
it.
that erosion from the water?
From,
The industrial canal.
The
project.
industrial
Is it
canal.
erosion, just
Is
natural erosion?
the problem, we're talking about Dolphin Lane, but we're actually talking about erosion.
there's a number of pieces to that puzzle. There's no toe to that slope, so when the slope was built, if it erodes, there's nothing holding it at the bottom from keeping it to go into the canal. We did happen, Moby happened to be out there and took pictures about a month before Hurricane Ida came through, and then we took pictures a few months later, and there was noticeable difference.
Wow.
And that's what we were trying to justify to FEMA, that they happened to be out there taking pictures, and we said, well, look through your phone and see if you just happen to have any, and they did. And we took the exact same pictures and showed where the whole bank had sloughed off over the course of 3 months, and Hurricane Ida came in there. And so that was our justification for why you know, the high water level and the waves and everything caused that big slough.
Is the road in the road's not in imminent danger of
We
collapsing?
need to keep a close eye on it, that it's getting close to the bank in 2 spots, it's getting real close to the shoulder. We looked at it 2 weeks ago, and didn't see anything where if you pulled off the shoulder, it would collapse, but it's getting closer over there.
Did y'all make FEMA aware that school buses and thousands of children go down there, and that they have federal money doing major research for black box of the bubble
FEMA
and
doesn't care
stuff?
about any of
It-
that.
No connection, FEMA doesn't care if
FEMA
it's
does not
federal
care about any of
facility
that.
or if it's children, okay.
Now, we did bring the Corps out there a year or so ago to look at it to see if they had any interest, and they did express that they potentially had some project money that could look at it. And if FEMA's not gonna participate or cover it, to me, that's the next step, because they're ultimately hugely responsible for the crap that lands in the bottom. And so if they don't help us keep the bank stable, it's gonna go in the bottom, and they're gonna have to clean it out anyway. And so hopefully we can pursue that, but
That's not the only problem we have with FEMA. We also have a problem with mitigation of the Jim Simpson Pier. They will not, and I'll be honest with you, tell you up front, and I know this is not a popular thing to do, but before I would build that pier back the way we continue to do it without the proper mitigation, drop it. Because the next little storm that comes through, we're gonna have the same problem again, spending the same amount of money.
well, and similarly on this, on Dolphin Lane,
Maybe
they
that's-
have not given us a way that we can fix it, and so if it does get close to the road, I'm gonna suggest that we start closing a lane or the entire road and see if the federal folks decide they wanna hop in that. You know, if you can't get down to the IMMS, they might jump up and say, we need to do something. But it's not there yet, but it's getting there.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Need me for anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we're talking about, remember the waffle thing? You mentioned it in Orange Beach, all the piers have that
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of composite waffle where the water goes through and doesn't pop them up. It was 4 times as expensive. Is that something y'all looked into, remember? And you said it was way more expensive. Just be interesting to get a price on that.
Yeah, D'Iberville.
That's what Biloxi's doing with the lighthouse pier.
D'Iberville's Marina's that.
It's just,
Is that
it's just, you
grid.
go
That's what
to
they
Orange
use.
Beach
Oh,
and none of their
flow-through.
piers ever get, I mean, unless they have a massive storm, but just like the regular tropical storms that we get that tear up every pier along the beach.
All the
It's
ones in Orange
just-
Beach pretty much survived that had that, what they call flow-through decking.
It's almost like the grate that's on the, it's like some kind of composite material or something,
It
but
is.
it's almost like the grate at a car wash that's in the middle or something, or over the top of a drain on the street. It's the
So
same concept.
What happens is, and I had surveillance cameras down on our piers during the Sally, and you can just see what happens, the waves come up there, and it's just like a jackhammer.
Yeah.
And what, you thought it would knock the boards loose first, what actually happens is the decking comes loose from the
Actually
pilings.
goes up.
And once that starts happening, then it starts doing this, and then it just all comes apart. But that flow-through decking allows that water to go through, and it doesn't cause that jackhammer effect. But again, a boat hits it, or you can't stop that unfortunately, because
And the bigger piece is the concrete piles, is you need to get that first.
yeah,
If you put that flow-through decking on wooden piles, that
It doesn't.
you need the
No,
concrete
you have to
piles
it
first.
still can
and
be
then-
damaged.
It's like building an expensive house on a cheap foundation. So, yeah, what we had the mitigation, the plans to mitigate it, we just can't get approval from FEMA to,
Play by their rules, and they just keep
Yeah.
changing the rules, yeah.
maybe we need to take a different route and maybe start talking to some of our elected officials to see if some kind of discussions with them and FEMA would be helpful.
I did send everything to Congressman Ezel, so he has it. He
On
said
this,
he's working
on the,
on everything that we have that FEMA denied.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
good.
Good deal.
The pier as well? Need to
I
check.
don't think so.
Check
I don't
and
think
see.
the pier was in there.
That's been going on for 3 or 4 years now.
No, the pier wasn't there. That wasn't there.
Simpson
Yes,
Pier,
sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir, that wasn't.
Yeah. Good.
I want to remind the
Thank
board
you,
that ball fields, lighting, that does need to be bid. Other two projects were bid.
That's right.
I think this one needs to be bid also. So if you want to go ahead and authorize them to prepare bid specs and do the bids,
That's what I suggest. Yeah, we had to bid the other one out.
you know, you bid the others.
Can we,
Since, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
can we do that bidding through lease only? Is that
You
possible?
could-
Because
The
that's-
bids last time were done as alternative, either buy or lease.
Yeah.
So the bids were done that way, and they gave, most of the bidders gave prices on one or the other or both.
Telling the lights?
And then,
Yeah.
then you chose it, which one, I'm not sure which one was chosen.
We're gonna do the lease option only, or can we do the lease option only
You
instead
can
of
do
buy?
it.
Because we're not gonna,
You
we
can do
can't
that.
afford to buy them.
We're not buying anything.
You can do the bid either way,
Can we
just
just
so
do
you have
the
that
lease?
option.
So just lease option only?
No, no,
Can
you
we do
can
it that
do
way?
lease or have them do the bids, either lease or purchase. Because all they're doing on the lease purchase is finance, and that's all it is, so you can add, so that way you have the
can do
option.
both and just select the lease if that's what you want.
But is that gonna make the bid process take longer? Because we're
Shouldn't.
not buying them.
We're not
Sure.
buying anything.
It shouldn't, but you can do it lease only, lease purchase
They
only if
want to
you
do it
want.
lease purchase only,
That
do
would be
it.
better for me. I think.
Now, you don't get a comparison of, I give you like, on the, this is Long Beach. Mississippi Power's bid for lease purchase was $1,195,000, and the outright purchase was $775,000.
Pay more for the lease over the period.
Right,
of time.
because it's just a method of financing is all it is.
That's right.
Since y'all brought up the lighting, Bobby Trustclair brought to my attention recently that the County Farm soccer fields, most that are not lit, and so as soon as it gets slightly dark, is it too late to add that to a list,
I
or
would think it would be if you wanted to add it to it, see what the bids would
are
be.
y'all okay with that?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole county uses
Do it
that.
all. Why you at it?
It would be 5 fields he'd want to light, so half of them.
Can you wait till my grandchildren become above soccer age, so I ain't gotta go out there at night?
Nope.
About 9,000 people there this weekend, it
Oh,
seemed
God,
like.
yeah. We used to be there every weekend too.
That's a windy field out there
Yeah, it
too.
is.
Whew. During the winter time, it's cold.
So do I make a motion to add that to the list, or is
Yeah,
that
you
just a
can just
hospital? So can
We
I make
have
a
to
Why
motion?
prepare
why don't we make a motion to advertise for leasing?
You're gonna have to
What
come
would
up
be
with
the terminology?
specifications and then to bid it. So you want to
Bid.
order, authorize the preparation of specifications and for bid purpose and then bidding.
Yeah. And that would include
Soccer fields and,
Right. The lease.
Ken's
County farm.
area and the county farm.
Okay,
All right, y'all heard the
motion.
motion?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hear none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no. Motion carries. I think that's it.
You
I'm
wanna
sorry, I
the
do
two?
want to say one little thing.
Go ahead.
I know we say we should lease, so we don't pay the money outright, but why pay $400,000 more in the long run when we've got the money? It's just a thought. I personally, in my home, would go ahead and buy it, and if we can afford it,
I agree, it's a,
you know.
I
Can we
think
look
it
at
ought to
both
be-
options?
it ought to be bid as lease and or purchase, that way you get the option to decide what to
But
do.
check, see if you got the money in your bond account or your escrow account.
Well, I mean us in general, like, we have money in our general fund.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, instead of spending, I'd rather spend $750 instead of 1.2 and not own
Now
it.
you're talking about amending a budget for those
Yeah.
amounts.
Okay, whatever y'all think, I was just, if it was my money, I'd pay it outright.
That's absolutely.
Doc,
you
the only
can
two
do.
things I got are the senior services. You wanna go over those, or you wanna?
Yes, sir, we need to do that too. Do we need to go,
In executive session?
executive session for that, don't we?
Well, it's personnel issue, so I
It
would say
qualifies
yeah.
for executive
Yeah.
session as a personnel issue.
Mr. Ladner,
Yes.
I was just informed that it's actually 4 $75 checks, not 3.
All right, I think we can simply change it to approve the 4. Do we need, I guess we might need to take action on that. Let's go back.
More than
$300.
What I would do, yeah,
Good job.
is ask, a motion to reconsider that particular item.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries now. Motion
To change the amount to 300.
In reference to the, approving the request by the sheriff for $225. We need to add another $75 to that, which would make it $300. Change the amount to $300 for issuance of a warrant to Harris County, Texas.
Motion. Second.
Discussion, all in favor, signify by aye. Aye. Those opposed by no, the motion carries. I'm not sure parliamentary we asked for reconsideration on approval, but I guess it's all right.
Yes.
You reconsidered it and you did a new order.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's the best way to clean it up, so we got you before. All right, Chair, I entertain a motion, Tim, you want personnel?
If personnel involved in senior resources center qualifies for executive session, if the board wants to go into closed session to discuss it, if not, you can just go directly into executive session, because there's no question that.
Does any board member want to go into closed session to discuss it? Make a motion if you do. Not to close, yeah, just close. Hearing none.
Second.
Chair will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion. Second.
Discussion, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Don't want to go in there, just stay here.
Just stay here.
Yeah, they'll have to leave. If y'all will excuse us